Genesis, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Man, oh man. I mean, you just can't make these stories up, man, I'm telling you. So ESPN has just reported that Ryan Garcia and Jojo Diaz are in serious negotiations. Now, what makes this news so unbelievable is Jojo Diaz, he just promised to Devin Haney and to the boxing world that he was going to be fighting Devin Haney next. Considering the fact that Jojo Diaz was actually fighting against Fortuna for a shot at Devin Haney's belt. That was a title eliminator for the WBC belt. Now remember, guys, after Jojo Diaz beat Javier Fortuna, they asked him who he wanted to fight next. The first person he mentioned was Ryan Garcia. I had already told you guys that's not a good sign. You don't call out a different name. You don't even include other names when you just fought in a title eliminator for the title. Case in point, when Errol Spence, when he was the mandatory for Kell Brook's belt, the main person he was calling out was Kell Brook. Hell, when Lennox Lewis was Riddick Bowe's mandatory, the main person he was calling out, not the main person, the only person he was calling out was the champion, Riddick Bowe. As soon as Kambosos became the IBF mandatory, the only fighter he was calling out was Teofimo Lopez. This is what you do when you earn the right to fight the champion in your division. So after Diaz, he mentions Ryan Garcia's name first and then mentions Devin Haney's name second. The following day, Devin Haney, he responds on Twitter. He says, "I didn't even watch JoJo's sorry ass, but it's funny that he's calling out Ryan when he is my quote-unquote mandatory now." JoJo, he responds to him and he says, "Shut your goofy ass up and let's fight by the end of this year, pussy." Now, it's so funny to me that he calls him a pussy because this reminds me of Jack Johnson when he was chasing the heavyweight champion of the world, Tommy Burns, who was avoiding him for 2 whole years, where Jack Johnson was chasing this man all across the country trying to demand a fight. And all this time that Tommy Burns was avoiding Jack Johnson, he was calling Jack Johnson yellow, which is no different than calling Jack Johnson scared, or a pussy, if you will. So Devin Haney, he cut it short and he said, "Let's do it October." Jojo Diaz, he replies and he said, "November, we got a deal." Devin Haney says, "Bet." Maybe a couple days or maybe even a week after that, Jojo Diaz, he goes on his Twitter account again and he says, "I want Devin next. I'm gonna do everything possible to make that fight happen." And now today we find out that Jojo Diaz is in negotiations with Ryan Garcia. This is amazing to me, guys. I've just never seen anything like this. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not 100% official that Jojo will fight Ryan Garcia next, but this is being reported by ESPN's Michael Coppinger. And we already know that once again, Jojo Diaz, he called out Ryan Garcia's name first. He mentioned his name first when he was asked who he wants to fight next. I'm telling you guys right now, Devin Haney is the most avoided fighter in the sport of boxing today, hands down. Do you know how many fighters have done this when it comes to Devin Haney? From Gary Russell to Teofimo Lopez, and now Jojo Diaz is on that list. The irony is Jojo is doing the same thing that Ryan Garcia did. Ryan was fighting to be in position to fight for Devin Haney's belt. He decided to pull out of that so he could try to fight someone else, which it was supposed to be Fortuna. So he pulled out of a title fight to fight a contender instead. At least that was the plan. Now here, Jojo Diaz, following in Ryan Garcia's footsteps, he fights to be in position to fight against a champion. And he decides to go and fight someone who doesn't even have a belt and someone he's going to make less money against. I've already completely broke down the math last time I talked about this. But I always got to reiterate because there's new people tuning in. Do you guys know Jojo Diaz made $300,000 in his last fight against Fortuna? Ryan made $500,000 in his fight against Luke Campbell. You guys know how much money Devin Haney made in his last fight against Linares? He made $3 million. Do you guys know how much his opponent made? He made a little over $1 million. So did Gamboa. This means even Devin Haney's opponents are making more than Ryan Garcia and Jojo Diaz combined. So this means, without a doubt, Jojo Diaz stands to make more against a champion for a title than he's going to make against Ryan Garcia for no belt at all. The only thing, so once again, no one can use the excuse, oh, well, he's picking Ryan because that's the bigger fight. Jojo has already done an interview where he completely talked about all of Ryan Garcia's many flaws. And man, when I say all, he talked about them all. He talked about how easy the fight would be. He talked about how Ryan is just going to be trying to hold him while he goes to the body, but eventually he's going to get Ryan out of there. So this is the real reason he wants that fight, because he feels it's an easier fight. I've already told you that almost everyone in the lightweight division, they look at Ryan as the weakest link. From Lomachenko to Devin Haney to Teofimo Lopez, they've all said that Ryan Garcia is the weakest link. And there's no doubt Jojo Diaz, he sees Ryan Garcia the exact same way. And you fans who say, hey man, I'd rather see Jojo versus Ryan Garcia, you're saying it for the same reasons, because you feel that's an easier fight for Jojo Diaz. And you feel, worst case scenario, no matter who loses that fight, they're not going to be losing to someone on the coincidental list like Devin Haney. That's exactly what that translates to when you say, oh man, nah, that's the bigger fight. I'd rather see that fight. Makes no sense at all. If you're supporting Jojo Diaz, if you're supporting Ryan Garcia, why would you not want the fighter that you're rooting for to fight for a world title? That makes no sense at all. You do want him to fight for a world title, but you want it to be against an easier champion, because that's when the belts matter to these type of fans, right? The belts don't matter though when the champion is dangerous. We know what time it is. So while there's still a chance, a small chance, that maybe, just maybe, Jojo Diaz will fight the guy that he positioned himself to fight, Devin Haney. But unfortunately, especially the way this year has been going, I would actually put money on it that Jojo, he's going to take the easy way out and take the Ryan Garcia fight instead of fighting for a world title. And the real crazy thing about this is actually it would have benefited Jojo even more if he would have fought Devin Haney and beat Devin, got his belt. That would have gave him leverage in negotiating a fight after that against a Ryan Garcia or whoever. Now you're a champion. Now you can demand more money, right? But the only way that would be beneficial or more beneficial for Jojo if he was even able to beat Devin Haney, which clearly there's some lack of confidence there when it comes to that. So prepare yourself for Ryan Garcia versus Jojo Diaz, the battle of the champ dodgers. I'll keep following this story and see if we get an announcement for this fight soon. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram.